Okay, in the last scene, we heard Haman really criticizing his father and asking his dad to be changeable, which means to listen to other people, and Haman's hinting that his father's logic or reason regarding his punishment for Antigone is slightly off. And he's trying to be gentle with his dad, but we see that Creon won't take criticism from anybody, including his son. On page 1046 is the ode after that scene that the chorus comes out and reads before the next scene of the play. So we'll read that. Ode 3. Love, unconquerable waster of rich men, keeper of warm lights and all-night vigil in the soft face of a girl, sea wanderer, forest visitor, even the pure immortals cannot escape you, and mortal men in his one day's dusk trembles before your glory. Surely you swerve upon ruin the just man's consenting heart, as you have made bright anger strike between father and son. And none has conquered but love, a girl's glance in the working will of heaven, pleasure to her alone who mocks us, merciless Aphrodite. So this ode is really speaking to the power of love being even stronger than the immortals, the gods, because even the gods can fall victim to love and envy and some of the emotions that come along with love. So it's talking about how love conquered here. It tore apart a father and a son, which is going to lead us right into scene 4, which begins on page 1047. So here we have the Choragus and Antigone, and also Creon. And as Creon described in the previous scene, he's taking Antigone to the vault to be locked in there and kind of left to fate. As Antigone enters guarded. But I can no longer stand in awe of this, not seeing what I see, keep back my tears. Here is Antigone passing to that chamber where all find sleep at last. Look upon me, friends, and pity me, turning back at the night's edge to say my goodbye to the sun that shines for me no longer. Now sleepy death summons me down to Acheron, the cold shore. There is no bride song there, nor any music. Yet not unpraised, not without a kind of honor, you walk at last into the underworld, untouched by sickness, broken by no sword. What woman has ever found your way to death? How often I have heard the story of Niobe, Tantalus's wretched daughter, how the stone clung fast about her, ivy close, and they say the rain falls endlessly, and that sifting soft snow her tears are never done. I feel the loneliness of her death in mine. But she was born of heaven, and you are a woman, woman-born. If her death is yours, a mortal woman's, is this not for you glory in our world and in the world beyond? You laugh at me. Ah, friends, friends, can you not wait until I am dead? O Thebes, O men many-charioted, I in love with fortune, dear springs of Dirce, sacred Theban grove, be witness for me, denied all pity, unjustly judged, and think a word of love for her whose path turns under dark earth, where there are no more tears. You have passed beyond human daring and come at last into a place of stone where justice sits. I cannot tell what shape of your father's guilt appears in this. You have touched it at last. That bridal bed, unspeakable horror of son and mother mingling, their crime, infection of all of our family. O Oedipus, father and brother, your marriage strikes from the grave to murder mine. I have been a stranger here in my own land all my life. The blasphemy of my birth has followed me. Reverence is a virtue, but strength lives in established law that must prevail. You have made your choice. Your death is the doing of your conscious hand. Then let me go, since all your words are bitter, and the very light of the sun is cold to me. Lead me to my vigil, where I must have neither love nor lamentation, no song, but silence. Creon interrupts impatiently. If dirges and planned lamentation could put off death, men would be singing forever. Take her, go. You know your orders. Take her to the vault and leave her there alone. And if she lives or dies, that's her affair, not ours. Our hands are clean. O tomb, vaulted bride bed and eternal rock, soon I shall be with my own again, where Persephone welcomes the thin ghosts underground, and I shall see my father again, and you, mother, and dearest Polynices, dearest indeed to me, since it was my hand that washed him clean and poured the ritual wine, and my reward is death before my time. And yet, as men's hearts know, I have done no wrong. I have not sinned before God, or if I have, I shall know the truth in death. But if the guilt lies upon Creon, who judged me, then I pray, may his punishment equal my own. O passionate heart, unyielding, tormented still by the same winds! Her guard shall have good cause to regret their delaying. Ah, that voice is the voice of death. I can give you no reason to think you are mistaken. Thebes, and you, my father's gods, and rulers of Thebes, you see me now, the last unhappy daughter of a line of kings, your kings, led away to death. You will remember what things I suffer and at what men's hands, because I would not transgress the laws of heaven. Come, let us wait no longer. Exit Antigone, left and guarded. So she's brought into the tomb. And you hear a lot of her final words and her final message really here to the men of Thebes for not standing up for her. She's saying that they'll always remember her for what she did, which was just burying her brother and honoring the gods. And also, she's in a way threatening Creon. She's saying, in death, I'll know if I were wrong. What I did was wrong. But if it wasn't wrong, then I hope Creon's death is as horrible as mine. And she also brings up the curse of her family, right? Oedipus, we know, married his mom, stabs his eyes out, gets exiled, Jocasta kills herself, the brothers kill each other. So Antigone is basically saying that she was a victim to this horrific fate and curse of her family, which seems to be true. All right, on page 1051, this is Ode 4. And this is going to talk about different Greek myths of people dying in these kind of horrific ways because of fate. All Dane's beauty was locked away in a brazen cell where the sunlight could not come. A small room, still as any grave, enclosed her. Yet she was a princess too, and Zeus in a rain of gold poured love upon her. O child, child, no power in wealth or war, or tough sea-blackened ships could prevail against untiring destiny. And Dryas' son also, the furious king, bore the gods' prisoning anger for his pride. Sealed up by Dionysus in deaf stone, his madness died among the echoes. So at the last he learned what dreadful power his tongue had mocked. For he had profaned the revels and fired the wrath of the 9 implacable sisters that love the sound of the flute. And old men tell a half-remembered tale of horror done where the dark ledge splits the sea, and a double surf beats on the gray shores. How a king's new woman, sick with hatred for the queen he had imprisoned, ripped out his 2 sons' eyes with her bloody hands, while grinning Ares watched the shuttle plunge 4 times, 4 blind wounds, crying for revenge. Crying tears and blood mingled, piteously born, those sons whose mother was of heavenly birth. Her father was the god of the north wind, and she cradled by the gales. She raced with young colts on the glittering hills and walked untrammeled in the open light. But in her marriage, deathless fate found means to build a tomb like yours for all of her joy. So it's very helpful to understand those stanzas of the ode, to look at the side notes. It describes in kind of easier terms the backstories of what was just described. But you can certainly hear some gruesome fate that the gods kind of deemed on these people. And it's certainly tying to the fate that Antigone has followed, and it's alluding to what is going to happen to Creon, because we're only one scene away from the end of the play.